The boy sat on the front steps with the blanket folded across his knees. He didn't move when the crickets went quiet. He didn't move when the dogs barked down the road. He only lifted his eyes when the door creaked and his mother came up the walk. She stopped short. Her voice caught low in her throat. "Why are you here?" He said nothing. His hands pressed into the fabric, knuckles pale. She stepped closer, slow. "I asked you a question." The boy tilted his chin, not defiant, not afraid. "Waiting. For what?" "You." Her mouth tightened. She glanced at the blanket, then back to him. "What's that?" He smoothed the corner with his palm. "You know." "Number I don't." "You do." Her jaw worked. She crouched down, the boards creaking beneath her knees. The lantern light from the street caught his face, soft but sharpened by something older than him. She reached a hand toward the blanket. He pulled it back. "Don't," he said. Her eyes stayed fixed on the fabric. "Where did you get it?" He didn't answer. "Tell me now." The boy shrugged. "It's mine." "That's not yours." "It is." Her voice cracked. "What is it made of?" He stared at her, his words flat. "Hair." She stood, quick and unsteady, and pressed a hand to her mouth. "Whose hair?" she whispered. He looked down at the bundle. His fingers curled into it like claws. "You know." She shook her head. "Number no, I don't." "Yes, you do." Her breath hitched. She turned toward the door, then back to him. "Get off the steps. Come inside." "I'll stay here." "You'll do as I say." "No." Her voice rose. "Don't you tell me no." He looked up at her without flinching. "Don't you tell me lies." The air grew still between them. The cicadas swelled again in the distance, a shrill wall of sound. She rubbed her arms through the night wasn't cold. "Who told you?" she asked. He lowered his gaze to the blanket. "Nobody had to." Her throat worked hard. "You shouldn't have that. You shouldn't even know." "I do." "You don't understand." "I understand enough." Her hand reached for the railing, gripping it until the wood groaned. "That child, that baby." She stopped herself, shaking her head. "It's not for you." He lifted the blanket. The fabric sagged heavy in his hands, the strands catching in the dim light. "It's all that's left." Her face twisted. She stepped back as though struck. "Put it away." "No." "Burn it." He clutched it tighter. "Never." Her shoulders heaved. She sank onto the steps beside him, her skirts brushing the dust. For a long stretch they sat silent, eyes fixed forward at the gravel road, the fields dark beyond. Finally she spoke, her voice low and sharp. "You dig up ghosts that should stay buried." He didn't look at her. "Ghosts don't stay buried. Not here." Her hand trembled as she reached again toward the blanket. This time he let her fingers touch the edge. She recoiled after 1 second, drawing her hand to her chest like she had touched flame. "You don't know what you're holding," she said. "I do." Her eyes shone wet, but she blinked hard, refusing tears. "Why now?" "Why tonight?" The boy's voice stayed calm. "Because you came home late, and I was waiting." "Waiting for what?" "For you to look." She turned her face away. "I won't." "You already did." Her breath came sharp, uneven. She rose to her feet, staring down at him. "You'll be the death of me." He looked up, the blanket heavy in his lap. "Or the truth of you." Her chest rose and fell. For a moment she looked ready to strike him. Instead, she stepped back toward the door, her hand tight on the knob. She opened it, but didn't go inside. "You bring that inside, and we'll never speak again." The boy met her eyes. "Then we won't." Her lips pressed tight. She left the door open behind her as she walked into the house. The boy stayed seated, still, the blanket draped over his knees. His gaze followed her shadow, stretching long across the floorboards until it vanished deeper inside. The crickets returned, steady, loud, filling the space between the silence. The boy leaned back against the post, clutching the blanket as if it held his spine upright. The door stayed open. The night pressed in, and neither of them moved. The door stayed open through the night. She hadn't closed it, hadn't turned the latch. The boy was still on the steps when she came back with the lantern in her hand. Her face was shadowed, lined, hard. "Bring it inside," she said. He didn't move. Her voice sharpened. "I said bring it." The boy lifted the blanket slightly. "You want it near you?" Her mouth trembled, but her words came fast. "I want it out of sight." He shook his head. "It won't be." Her eyes cut toward him. "What is that blanket made of?" He stroked the edge with his thumb. Hair. Whose? He looked at her, his face steady. Yours. And hers. Her body stiffened. She set the lantern down too hard on the rail. The flame jumped. Don't you speak that, she said. It's true. You don't know what you're saying. I do. Her breath caught. You're lying. He leaned forward, voice calm. Then tell me whose hair it is. She faltered, gripping the post. Her mouth opened shut, opened again. Where did you get it? He didn't blink. It was saved, stitched, kept. By who? He gave no answer. By who? She demanded. Does it matter? Yes. No, he said. Her hand rose like she wanted to strike him, then fell. She whispered, That baby's gone. He stared at her. Not gone. Her lips pulled thin. Buried. Not buried. Her voice cracked. I put her in the ground. He shook his head. The ground never kept her. She pressed her palm to her chest, staggered back against the doorframe. Why are you saying this? Because you asked. She closed her eyes, but tears forced through. You weren't even alive. I was told. By who? He said it clear. By her. Her eyes flew open. Don't you dare. She told me. She's dead. He tilted his head. You just said she was buried. Then you said she was dead. Which one? Her throat tightened. Both. He leaned back, folding the blanket against his chest. Then why can I hear her? Her hand shook as she grabbed the lantern and stormed past him, stepping down into the dirt. He followed with his eyes silent. She spun back. You're not cursed. You're sick. He answered flat. I'm not sick. You are. I'm listening. To nothing, she spat. To her, he said. Her breath rattled. She pointed at the blanket. That thing is poison. Give it to me. He hugged it tighter. No. Her voice rose to a shout. Whose hair is this? He didn't hesitate. The baby you lost. She froze, all the air gone from her lungs, her eyes filled with panic. Don't say it. He said it again, louder. The baby you lost. Her hands slapped against her ears. Stop. He stood now, his small frame rigid. Her name matters. No. Yes. No. Say it. She stumbled back onto the dirt path, shaking her head hard. That name is gone. He followed, slow, clutching the blanket close. Say it. She turned on him, her voice breaking into a scream. I never named her. The night swallowed the sound. She collapsed onto her knees, gasping. Her hands dug into the gravel, pulling sharp stones into her palms. She rocked once, twice, whispering breathless. Never named, never named, never named. The boy stopped a step away. He lowered his voice. Then I'll name her. Her eyes shot up wild. Don't you dare. I will. You don't get to. Somebody has to. She shook her head violently, hair sticking to her wet cheeks. You weren't there. You weren't in the room. You didn't hear her cry. The boy's eyes narrowed. So she did cry. Her mouth clamped shut. You told people she never did, he said. She stared at him, silent. You lied, he said. Her whole body shook. She whispered, broken. I had to. The boy looked down at the blanket. Then this is her voice now. She pushed herself up, staggering. You're tearing me apart. He said softly. I'm stitching her back. Her lips parted, no sound. She backed toward the steps, clutching her chest. She sat heavy on the lowest plank, staring at him like he was a stranger. You can't keep it, she whispered. I can. It will ruin you. It already did. Her tears fell fast now, streaking her face. Please, please give it to me. He shook his head. No. She sobbed once, raw. Why do you hate me? His voice was quiet but sharp. Why did you forget her? She buried her face in her hands, rocking again. Don't do this. He stood still, blanket in his arms, looking at her. It's already done. The lantern flame shook in the night wind. Her sobs broke into low, guttural sounds that carried across the yard. The boy turned back toward the steps and sat again, folding the blanket across his knees. Her voice scraped from behind her hands. You're not my son, he whispered, barely moving his lips. Maybe I'm hers. The silence that followed was heavy, endless. She dropped her hands and stared at him, her eyes hollow. He stared back, face blank, the blanket safe in his lap. The crickets droned again, filling the empty space where words had shattered. The knock came heavy on the door. 3 strikes, slow. Certain. The boy stayed on the steps, blanket in his lap. His mother froze where she sat, tears still drying on her face. She wiped them quick and stood, smoothing her dress, though her hands trembled. Another knock. She hissed at the boy. "Stay quiet." He said nothing. She opened the door. The sheriff filled the frame, wide shoulders under his worn coat, hat brim low. His boots thudded against the porch boards when he stepped forward. "Evening, ma'am," he said. Her voice came tight. "Sheriff." His eyes shifted past her to the boy on the steps. "He's still awake. He couldn't sleep." The sheriff nodded slow. "Folks been talking." She crossed her arms. "Folks always do. This time it's about him." He pointed with his chin toward the boy. She moved to block the view. "Leave him be." The sheriff adjusted his belt, the leather creaking. "They say he's been carrying things no child ought to carry." Her jaw clenched. "Children carry what they're given." He studied her, silent. Then his gaze dropped to the blanket in the boy's lap. "That it?" The boy's fingers tightened on the fabric. The mother spoke quick, too quick. "It's nothing but scraps. Old cloth." The sheriff's voice stayed steady. "Doesn't look like cloth." "It is," she snapped. He didn't blink. "Then let me see it." The boy stood, clutching the blanket close. "No." The sheriff looked at him, calm. "That wasn't a request, son." The mother stepped in. "You'll not take it." "Ma'am, I've got cause." "You've got gossip." The sheriff let the silence hang. His eyes narrowed on her. "You forget who keeps order out here." Her voice cut sharp. "You forget who kept you fed when your kin left you broke." The air thickened. The sheriff's jaw flexed, but his tone stayed slow. "Debt don't change law." Her lips pressed tight. "Debt changes everything." The boy spoke low. "You owe her." The sheriff's eyes flicked back to him. "Best stay out of grown talk." The boy didn't flinch. "You owe her." His mother grabbed his arm. "Hush." The sheriff stepped closer. His boots groaned against the boards. "I need to know what he's holding. Folks are scared." Her voice cracked with anger. "Since when do you bow to fear?" He tilted his head. "Since fear turns to violence. You know how fast that spreads." She lifted her chin. "Then stop it before it starts." "Not without knowing what he's carrying." The boy's voice was flat. "It's not for you." The sheriff studied him. "Then who's it for?" The boy looked at his mother. "Her." The sheriff's brow furrowed. He turned back to the woman. "What's he mean?" She shook her head fast. "He means nothing." The boy corrected, steady. "I mean truth." The sheriff squinted at him, then at her. "Truth about what?" "Leave it," she said. "I can't." "You will." The sheriff's voice stayed calm, deliberate. "If I leave now and someone gets hurt, it's on me." "No one's getting hurt." "Then show me the blanket." She stepped forward, her body between the sheriff and her son. "You'll not lay a hand on him." The sheriff's gaze hardened. "Why protect him if it's nothing?" Her breath shook. "Because he's mine," the boy whispered. "Maybe I'm not." Her head snapped toward him, eyes wide. "Don't." The sheriff caught the words, his stare sharp. "What's that supposed to mean?" The boy stayed silent. The mother's voice dropped low, begging. "Leave us, sheriff." His tone stayed measured. "You know I can't." Her hands trembled, clutching her dress. "Then what do you want?" "An answer." "You won't get one." He studied her. Then the boy. The weight of old history hung between them, unspoken but heavy. The sheriff exhaled slow. "You think debts last forever," he said. "They do," she answered. His eyes lingered. Then he stepped back off the porch. His boots hit the dirt with a dull thud. He tipped his hat just enough. "For now." She didn't move until his figure faded into the dark. The boy still clutched the blanket, breathing steady. She turned to him, her face pale, her words sharp. "You don't speak again. Not to him. Not to anyone." He looked at her. "He's scared of it." "Everyone is." Her voice faltered, softer now. "So am I." The boy lowered himself back onto the steps. The house behind them creaked in the night. The sheriff's shadow still seemed to linger at the edge of the yard. The mother closed the door at last, but the sound of the sheriff's boots stayed in her head long after. The barn smelled of iron and dust when she pushed the doors open. Hinges groaned, wood scraped, and the boy followed, the blanket pressed to his chest. She had told him to go to bed. He only said, "Come with me." She had no strength left to refuse. Now the lantern light cut across beams sagging with age. The meat table stood against the far wall, scarred from years of work. Above it hung the iron hook, black with rust. The boy stopped beneath it. His voice was low but clear. "That's where they hung me in your stories." She stiffened. "Don't talk nonsense." He pointed up. "Right there. You said it." Her lips thinned. "I told you tales, nothing more." He shook his head. "You told me truth." Her breath grew unsteady. "Number I told you stories." His words pressed harder. "You called it punishment." She snapped. "I never." He stepped closer. "You said children who sinned got lifted on the hook until they cried." Her throat tightened. She remembered the night's firelight flickering when she tried to scare him from lying. She never meant for him to believe it. "I didn't mean it that way." He looked straight at her. "You meant it." Her hands trembled. "No." "Yes." "It was just words." "It was warning." Her voice broke. "I never touched you." He nodded. "But you wished to." Her chest heaved. "That's not true." He pointed again. "Then why is it still here?" She turned her eyes to the hook. Once it had held deer and hogs, skinned and dripping. She hadn't used it in years, yet she hadn't taken it down. "Because it belongs," she whispered. "It belongs gone," he said. She shook her head. "It belongs to this place." "To blood." She flinched. "Stop." "To memory." "Enough." The barn seemed to close in, beams pressing down. He lifted the blanket, folding it like evidence. "This and that," he said, nodding to the hook, "are the same." She swallowed. "They are not." He stared at her. "One holds flesh. One holds hair. Both hold truth." She backed against the wall, lantern shaking in her hand. "Truth of what?" He said. "Of what you did." Her voice came sharp. "I did nothing." "You told it." "Stories aren't crimes." "They were for me." His words cut clean. She dropped her gaze. "I was young, angry. I wanted you to fear me." He said. "You did." Her eyes stung. "I never thought you'd carry it." "I carry all of it." His tone never wavered. She whispered, "You're tearing me open." He said, "Then bleed." The barn air thickened. Her heart pounded in her ears. She whispered, "What do you want from me?" He answered, "Truth." She shook her head. "You wouldn't bear it. Try me. It will break you." He said, "It already did." Her breath came ragged. She dropped to the bench, covering her face. "I was cruel. I used words like whips. I thought fear would keep you safe." His eyes stayed fixed on the hook. "Fear chained me." She looked up at him. "Then unchain yourself." "By hanging it on." "You," he said. Her lips parted, but no answer came. He stepped closer to the hook, raising the blanket higher. "This is evidence," she whispered. "It's madness." He said, "It's trial." She shook her head, voice breaking. "You're no judge." He looked at her. "Then who is?" She pressed her hands together, knuckles white. "God alone." He said, "God gave it to me." She trembled. "Don't say that." He did not blink. "I am jury. You are guilty." The words dropped like stones between them. She stood, desperate. "Guilty of what?" "Of forgetting." "That's no crime." "It is." Her voice cracked. "Then what is the sentence?" He looked at the hook. "To face it." Her knees weakened. She whispered, "I can't." He said, "You must." She shook her head violently. "I won't." His voice stayed flat. "Then it never ends." The barn fell into silence except for the rustle of mice in the rafters. Her eyes burned holes into the floor. He lowered the blanket and draped it across the table. "This is the record," he said. She whispered, "Records can lie." He answered, "So can mothers." Her tears spilled now. She stepped toward him. "I loved you." He said, "You loved control." Her voice cracked. "I tried." "You failed." Her chest shook with sobs. He turned to the hook once more. "Court's not done." The lantern dimmed as the oil sank low. Shadows stretched long, cutting the barn into strips of light and dark. She whispered, "Then what do you demand?" He said, "Confess." She shook her head weakly. "There's nothing to confess." He leaned close, voice sharp. "Say her name." Her face collapsed. "I can't." He said, "You will." She clutched her stomach, rocking. "I buried her." "Then unbury." She's gone. She's here. Her eyes widened with fear. You're not my son. He held her stare. I'm the one she left. The silence swelled, heavy, unbroken. She sagged against the wall, lantern nearly slipping from her hand. The boy stepped back, gaze fixed on the hook. The barn was a courtroom, and the trial was not over. The stove hissed as wood cracked inside the firebox. The kitchen walls glowed faint with orange light. She sat at the table with a folded letter clutched in her hand. The boy sat across, blanket close to him, eyes fixed on her every move. She unfolded the paper slow, smoothing the creases. Her voice was low, almost unwilling. It's old. He leaned forward. How old? Years. Whose hand? She stared at the ink. Your grandfather's. His brows lifted. Which side? She hesitated. Mine. He leaned back, eyes narrowing. Read it. Her throat caught, but she began. To my daughter. She stopped. Keep going. He pressed. Her voice shook. Blood must answer blood. What they took, we will return. Names don't die. The boy's jaw set. What names? She lowered the paper. It doesn't matter. It does. No. Yes. She gripped the letter tighter. It was written in anger. Then say them. Her lips thinned. Dawson. The boy repeated it, slow. Dawson. She nodded, small. They held land that should have been ours. What else? She looked away. Holloway. He frowned. Sheriff's name. Her breath faltered. His kin. The boy's eyes sharpened. So he owes. She spoke quick. Number that debt burned away years ago. He shook his head. Not if names don't die. She stared at him, unsettled. Don't twist words. I don't have to, he said. She set the letter flat on the table, hands trembling. It was all politics, grudges over borders, grazing, cattle, nothing holy. He tapped the blanket. Then why keep this? Her voice cracked. Because I was told to. By who? Her silence stretched. By who? He demanded. My father, she whispered. He leaned forward. He cursed you with it. Her eyes shone wet. He made me remember. The boy tilted his head. That's the same thing. She pushed the letter toward the fire but stopped halfway. If I burn it, will you stop? He answered quick. No. Her shoulders sagged. Then what do you want? More names. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Rowan. He repeated it, flat. Rowan. She nodded. They married into us, then betrayed. Who else? She clutched the table edge. Tanner. His eyes flicked up. The preacher's family. Her face twisted. They turned their backs when the baby died. His hand pressed to the blanket. So they knew. Her jaw clenched. Everyone knew. He asked sharp. And everyone stayed silent. She whispered, yes. His breath came fast, steady rage in his eyes. Say them again. She recoiled. Why? So they hear. Her chest rose, fell. Dawson, Holloway, Rowan, Tanner. He nodded. Curses, she snapped. They're just names. They're chains, he said. Her face went pale. You sound like him. Who? My father. The boy's eyes didn't move. Then maybe he was right. Her voice cracked. Number he was cruel. He made every name a weapon. The boy's words cut flat. You're doing the same now. She shook her head. I'm trying to stop it. You can't. She pressed her palms together, whispering fast. I won't let you drown in it. He leaned forward, eyes sharp. I'm already under. She slapped the letter down hard, the paper rattling. Then listen. Blood feuds rot families. They turn children into stones. I lived it. I buried it. I will not see you dig it up. He answered cold. I already have. Her eyes widened, breath shallow. You don't know what you're saying. I do. You don't understand. I understand enough. Her hands shook as she folded the letter again. If I never told you, it's because silence was safer. The boy's voice dropped, calm as a knife. Silence is guilt. She flinched. Stop. You carry it, he said. Her eyes filled with tears. I carried you. The words lingered. She covered her mouth, sobbing quiet. The boy leaned back, watching her crumble. Finally she whispered, Please, let the names stay dead. He shook his head. They never die. The stove crackled, swallowing the silence. The letter lay between them, its edges curling in the heat, but she couldn't bring herself to burn it. Her son sat still, the blanket in his lap, repeating the names under his breath like prayers. Dawson, Holloway, Rowan, Tanner. Each word struck her chest like a hammer until she lowered her head to the table and wept without sound. The silence that followed was too heavy to break. The town hall smelled of dust and old paper. Lanterns flickered against the tall walls, throwing shadows across rows of benches filled with townsfolk. The mother kept her head low as she walked in, the boy at her side. His blanket was folded tight under his arm. Whispers followed them. She heard her name, half-spoken, swallowed quick. She pushed forward, lips pressed thin, eyes locked on the front. But the boy slowed, his gaze fixed across the room. Near the dais stood a young man in a clean coat, hair slicked, boots polished. His smile was easy, but his eyes were sharp. The governor's nephew. The boy didn't blink. He stared hard, unbroken. The nephew noticed. His smirk widened. He leaned back against the wall, folding his arms. He whispered to the men around him, and their quiet laughter spread like smoke. The mother grabbed her son's arm, tugging him toward a bench. "Sit," she whispered. He didn't move. Her voice cut sharper. "Now." Slowly he sat, still staring. The nephew pushed off the wall and strolled closer. His boots tapped steady against the wooden floor. He stopped a few paces away, looking down at the boy. "You got a staring problem?" The boy's voice was calm. "No." "Looks like you do." The mother stepped in quick. "Leave him be." The nephew tilted his head, grinned tight. "That your boy?" She met his eyes. "Yes." "Then teach him manners." "He has them." "Not from where I stand." The boy spoke again, steady. "I know your name." The nephew chuckled. "Everyone does." The boy didn't flinch. "Holloway." The smile faded a little. "Watch yourself." The mother pulled the boy's shoulder. "Quiet." But the boy pressed on. "You owe." The nephew's jaw ticked. He leaned closer, voice low. "Say that again." "You owe." The nephew laughed, sharp, forced. He straightened, raising his voice so nearby ears could hear. "This one's touched. Been listening to ghosts." The boy stayed still. "Not ghosts. Names." The mother cut in, desperate. "Enough." The nephew looked at her, eyes gleaming. "They call you the meat hooker, don't they?" Her face went cold. "Say it again." He smirked. "Meat hooker." The words rippled through the hall. Heads turned. Whispers rose, hushed, but cutting. She stepped forward, chin high. "You don't speak that in my hearing." The nephew leaned close, his voice a sneer. "Then plug your ears." The boy stood suddenly, blanket clutched tight. His voice cut through. "She's not cursed. You are." The hall quieted, all eyes turned. The nephew laughed again, but softer this time. "Cursed? By what?" The boy didn't blink. "By her name." Gasps stirred the crowd. The nephew's smirk faltered, just for a breath, before he set it back on his face. "Crazy child," he muttered. The mother pulled her son hard by the arm. "Sit down." He resisted. "No." "Sit." "I won't." The nephew's eyes narrowed, his voice low and sharp. "You keep him on a leash, or someone else will." She turned on him, her voice like steel. "Try it." The room held its breath. The nephew raised his hands in mock surrender, grin returning. "Careful, people might think you've forgotten your place." Her eyes burned into him. "I never forget. It's you who should." His smile cracked, then hardened. "You think a name still carries weight? That old bloodlines still matter?" She answered fast. "They do." The boy echoed, voice flat. "They do." The nephew glared. "Keep him quiet, or I'll do it for you." She stepped between them. "Touch him, and you'll answer for it." "To who?" He sneered. "To everyone," she said. The hall buzzed again, whispers thick, uncertain. The nephew looked around, saw eyes fixed on him. His smirk faltered but didn't fall. He adjusted his coat, stepped back. "Careful what you stir up. Curses cut both ways." The boy whispered, just loud enough. "Then bleed first." The nephew stiffened, his gaze locked on the boy, cold now. "You'll regret that." The mother's voice snapped sharp. "We already regret enough." He stared at her a moment longer, then turned, walking back toward the dais. His polished boots struck hard against the floor, each step echoing. The boy sat slowly, blanket in his lap, eyes never leaving the nephew's back. The mother sank beside him, her breath shallow. She whispered fast, "You fool, do you know what you've done?" He answered calm, named him. She shook her head. "You don't pick fights with men like that." He picked it. "No," she hissed. "You dragged it." The fire in her eyes faded into fear. She folded the letter tighter in her coat pocket, pressing it to her chest. The boy leaned closer. "He's part of it. Dawson, Holloway, Rowan, Tanner. I see them all." Her voice broke. "Stop." He didn't. "They'll pay." She covered his mouth with her hand, trembling. "Don't you say that. Not here. Not anywhere." He pulled her hand away, eyes steady. "Then where?" Her chest rose and fell sharp. "Nowhere." The hall stirred with voices again, the meeting resuming, but the air stayed heavy. The nephew's laugh echoed across the room, forced and hollow, while the boy's gaze never wavered. The mother pressed her hand hard against his knee, her words a whisper meant only for him. "You've started something I can't stop." The boy leaned into her ear. "Then don't stop it." She closed her eyes, the sound of the nephew's smirk carrying through the hall like a curse spoken aloud. The bed was empty. She tore back the quilt, heart hammering, calling his name into the dark. No answer. The door hung open, the night air thick with smoke. She ran barefoot across the yard, through the gravel, lungs burning as she chased the glow. The schoolhouse loomed ahead, its back wall flickering with fire. Flames licked high, hungry and fast. The boy stood near the blaze, blanket raised above his head like an offering. His face was lit red, eyes steady. She cried out, voice breaking, "What are you doing?" He didn't turn. "Showing them." "Showing who?" "All of them." She stumbled closer, heat singeing her skin. "Put it down." He held it higher. "No." "You'll burn it." "That's the point." She shook her head, choking on the smoke. "Please, it's all we have." His voice stayed flat. "It's all you buried." Tears blurred her vision. "That blanket is not for fire." He finally looked at her, calm as stone. "It's for truth," she screamed, raw. "It's for her." "Yes," he said. "That's why it burns." She lunged, trying to snatch it from him. He stepped back, flames stretching closer. "Stop," she begged. "Say her name," he answered. Her knees buckled. "I can't." "Then watch." "No." "Yes." The fire roared louder, snapping wood. Sparks rained around them. She fell to her knees, voice cracking. "Please, son, please don't." He lowered the blanket slightly, but his eyes stayed cold. "You keep saying son." Her breath hitched. "You are." His voice dropped. "Maybe I'm hers." Her hands shook. "You're mine." He looked at the flames. "Then claim me." "I do." "Not with silence," he said. The heat pressed against them, unbearable. She reached again. "Give it here. We'll go home. We'll keep it safe." He shook his head. "Safe is a lie." Her tears streaked through ash on her cheeks. "Then what do you want?" He raised the blanket again. "For everyone to see." She grabbed his arm. "This isn't the way." "It's the only way," he said. Bootsteps pounded the dirt. The sheriff's voice boomed through the smoke. "Put it down, boy." The boy didn't move. The sheriff came closer, face lit by flame, his shadow long against the schoolhouse wall. "I said put it down." The mother stood, shielding her son. "Stay back." The sheriff's tone dropped, slow and heavy. "He'll burn the whole town." She shouted, hoarse. "Then stop the fire." "Not him." The sheriff's eyes narrowed. "It starts with him." The boy spoke, steady. "You're afraid." The sheriff's voice rumbled. "I'm tired." "You owe," the boy said. The sheriff stiffened. "I owe nothing." The boy lifted the blanket higher. "Your name's on it." The sheriff's jaw clenched. "Don't test me, boy." The mother reached for her son again, desperate. "Please, give it to me." He pulled away. "Not until he hears." The sheriff stepped forward. "I've heard enough." The boy stared at him, voice sharp. "Dawson, Holloway, Rowan, Tanner, your kin." The sheriff froze, fists tight at his sides. The mother sobbed. "Stop it, please!" The boy pressed on. They all stood by. They all watched. The sheriff's face darkened. "Careful. Careful of truth," the boy said. The sheriff's voice thundered. "Careful of curses." The boy's reply was calm. "Curses already live here. Flames cracked the windows, glass shattering loud. The schoolhouse groaned under the fire's weight. The mother cried out, clutching her head. "Enough! Enough!" The boy lowered the blanket an inch. His eyes locked on the sheriff's. "Say you owe." The sheriff's jaw worked, teeth grinding. He said nothing. "Say it," the boy demanded. The mother screamed, voice raw. "Please," the sheriff finally spoke, slow as stone. "I owe nothing." The boy lifted the blanket again. The sheriff's hand went to his belt, resting heavy on the iron there. "Don't make me." The mother stepped between them, her body shaking. "You'll do nothing." The sheriff's eyes burned into hers. "Move." "No." The boy whispered, calm. "She stands." The sheriff's breath came hard. He lowered his hand, but his voice stayed sharp. "This ends tonight." The boy answered quiet. "Number it begins." The fire roared higher, wood caving inward. Heat rushed over them. The mother dropped to her knees again, screaming, "Please stop!" The boy looked at her, eyes empty of fear. "Say her name." Her sobs shook her whole body. "I can't." "Then burn." He stepped closer to the fire, blanket raised high. The sheriff lunged forward, grabbing his arm. The boy twisted, holding tight to the blanket, refusing to let go. The mother cried out, clawing at both of them. "Stop! Please stop!" the sheriff growled, pulling hard. "Let it go." The boy's voice stayed flat. "Never." The three of them struggled against the blaze, smoke choking, sparks stinging skin. The blanket writhed between their hands. Like a living thing. For a moment it seemed it would be lost to the fire. Then the sheriff ripped it free, tossing it hard into the dirt. He stomped it down with his boots, smothering flames before they could catch. The boy fell back, gasping, fury etched on his face. The mother collapsed beside him, sobbing. The sheriff stood over them, chest heaving, his voice heavy with finality. "This ends now." The boy looked up, eyes burning. "Number it ends when you confess." The sheriff turned away, his silence dragging behind him like chains. The fire consumed the schoolhouse, but the blanket lay smoldering in the dirt, blackened, not destroyed. The boy reached for it, pulling it close once more. The mother closed her eyes, her tears mixing with ash. The night was heavy with damp earth when she woke to the scrape of metal. She rushed outside, lantern swinging in her hand. The sound led her past the barn, through weeds tall as her waist, to the old well at the edge of the yard. The boy was there, shovel in hand, throwing dirt in ragged arcs. The blanket lay folded on the stones behind him. Her voice broke sharp. "Stop!" He didn't look up. "Can't." She ran closer, skirt catching on briars. "What are you doing?" He grunted, shoveling deep. "Digging." "For what?" His words were flat. "Bones." She staggered, lantern light trembling. "There's nothing here." "Yes, there is." "No." "Yes." She rushed forward, grabbing the handle. "Stop this madness." He yanked it back. "It's not madness. You'll shame us." "They already whisper," he said. Her voice cracked. "They whisper because of you." "They whisper because of you," he answered, throwing more dirt. Tears stung her eyes. "Please, please don't do this." He shouted now, louder with each word. "Dawson!" A shovelful of earth flew aside. "Holloway!" Another strike. "Rowan! Tanner!" The names split the night. She lunged, dropping to her knees, clawing at the dirt with her bare hands. "There's nothing! Nothing!" He kept digging, steady, relentless. "You'll see." Her nails broke, blood streaking her fingertips. "I buried nothing here." He barked back. "You buried silence." She froze, chest heaving. "You don't know." He stopped long enough to look at her. His face was lit by the lantern glow, streaked with sweat and soil. "I know enough." She sobbed. "I carried her. I held her cold. I put her down myself." "Then dig her up," he said. Her body shook as she tore at the earth with both hands, desperate. The soil came up in clumps, heavy and wet. "Nothing here," she gasped. "You see? Nothing." He struck again with the shovel. The sound changed, a hollow thud. They froze. Her breath caught. "No." The boy lifted the shovel, struck again. The metal hit something solid. She crawled closer, frantic. "It's roots, it's stone." He scraped the dirt away. Wood appeared, pale and splintered. Her cry tore through the night. "No." The boy dropped to his knees, pulling soil back with his hands. "I told you." She grabbed his wrist. "Stop." He shoved her off. Look! The wood stretched wide, a lid. Her voice shook with terror. It's old. It's nothing to do with us. It's hers, he whispered. She shook her head violently. No, it can't be. He pressed his hand against the surface. I hear her. She clutched his arm, begging. Don't open it. He looked at her, steady. You opened it first. Her knees gave way. She fell against the dirt, sobbing into her palms. I never wanted this. You wanted silence, he said. She shook her head hard. I wanted peace. He stared at the wood. Peace doesn't live here. She crawled forward, throwing herself across the box as if to shield it. You'll not touch it, he whispered. Then confess. She looked up, dirt streaked across her face. Confess what? That you left her here. Her sob was raw. I didn't. Say it. No, say it. Her scream ripped out of her. I didn't. The night swallowed the sound. The boy leaned close, voice sharp. Then who did? She collapsed, shaking. I don't know. He placed his hand flat on the lid. She knows. Her body shook. You're breaking me. He whispered. Then break. The lantern flame wavered in the wind, throwing shadows across the wellstones. The boy pressed harder on the wood, listening. His face was pale, his eyes empty. The mother crawled back, rocking in the dirt. Please, please stop. He turned toward her, calm. It's too late. Her chest heaved, tears falling fast. You'll damn us all. His gaze dropped to the box. We're already damned. She clutched her head, nails digging into her scalp. What do you want from me? Truth. I gave it. You gave excuses, he said. Her breath shuddered. What will you do? He whispered. Open it. She screamed, lunging at him again. No. They struggled in the dirt, her hands clawing at the shovel, his grip iron. He shoved her back, panting. She fell against the stones, gasping. The boy leaned over the lid, digging away the last of the soil. The wood was old, rotting at the edges. He hooked the shovel beneath it. She crawled forward on her knees, clutching at his arm, her voice breaking. Don't. He pushed harder. The wood creaked. Please, she begged. Not this, not tonight. He looked at her, eyes burning. Then when? Her body crumpled. She sobbed into the dirt. Never. He pressed down. The lid shifted with a crack. The lantern sputtered, almost out. The smell of damp wood filled the air. The boy sat back, chest heaving, staring at what he'd uncovered. The mother stayed on her knees, face buried in her hands. Her sobs echoed against the stones, spilling into the night like water from the well. The box lay open. The lantern light swayed across the kitchen walls. The table sat between them, scarred with years of use. She gripped the edge, knuckles white, while the boy laid out what he had carried from the dirt. Scraps of paper, strands of hair, and rusted nails. He placed them one by one like evidence. Her voice came sharp. Put that away. He shook his head. Not until you answer. There's nothing to answer. He looked at her steady. Then why are you shaking? Her throat tightened. Because you frighten me. He pressed a lock of hair flat against the wood. This isn't mine. Her eyes darted, then fell. I don't know what it is. You do. I don't. He leaned closer. Whose hair? Her voice cracked. Stop it. Whose? She whispered. It could be anyone's. Not anyone's. She clenched her fists. You think this is proof? It is. It's filth. It's rot. He tapped the nail against the table. Then why was it buried? Her chest rose and fell. Things get lost. He shook his head. Things get hidden. Her lips pressed tight. You're twisting it. You twisted it first. Her eyes burned. I protected you. You buried her, he said. Her whole body flinched. That's not true. He leaned back, calm. Then swear it. I will. Swear it on her name. Her mouth opened, then shut. She looked away. The boy's voice sharpened. Say it, she whispered. I can't. Then you lied. Her hands trembled. No. Yes. Her chest shook as she leaned forward. I did what I had to. He spread the scraps wider, pushing them toward her. These say otherwise. Her tears welled. Those are nothing. They're her. No. Yes. Her face crumpled. You're killing me. He said steady, I'm trying you. She looked at him, horror in her eyes. This isn't a court. It is now. Then who is judge? I am. She slammed her palm against the table. "You're a boy." He didn't flinch. "I'm her voice." Her words cracked apart. "You're my son," he whispered. "Or hers." The silence sat heavy between them. The stove popped in the corner. She buried her face in her hands. His voice cut through. "Answer." Her whisper bled out. "What do you want me to say?" "The truth. You couldn't bear it." "I already am." She lifted her head, eyes red. "I was told to keep quiet. I was told silence was mercy." He pressed the nail down, scratching the wood. "Silence is a grave." Her voice broke. "They would have taken me apart if I spoke." "They still will," he said. Her tears ran fast now. "I was alone. No one helped. Not my father. Not the preacher. Not the law," the boy whispered. "And not me." Her voice shattered. "You weren't there." He looked at her cold. "Maybe I was." Her body stilled. His tone sharpened. "Maybe I remember." She shook her head slowly. "That's impossible." He leaned forward. "Whisper low." "Then why does it feel true?" Her chest heaved. "Because you're cursed." He whispered. "Because you buried me with her." Her cry cut the air. She slammed her fist on the table, rattling the scraps. "Enough." The boy stayed calm. "Verdict's not spoken yet," she sobbed, clutching her chest. "Please, please let me go." He stared at her, voice flat. "Not until you confess." "I have nothing left to confess." "You have her." Her body bent forward, shoulders shaking. She whispered into the wood. "I couldn't save her." The boy's eyes narrowed. "So you left her." Her sobs tore through her. "I held her once, then I let her go." He leaned back, silent. Her voice shook. "Does that damn me?" He whispered. "Yes." She collapsed against the table, weeping into her arms. The boy gathered the scraps again, placing them back in the blanket. He folded it tight, his face blank. She lifted her head, eyes hollow. "What now?" he whispered. "Sentence." Her lips parted, no words. He stood, blanket under his arm, and walked from the table without looking back. The stove cracked, the fire inside sputtering as her sobs filled the empty room. The night was thick with silence until boots crushed gravel in the yard. She stepped out with the lantern, its glow spilling weak across the grass. Figures moved at the edge of the light, one by one, until a circle formed. Faces she knew. Faces she had fought once and lost to. The boy stood beside her, blanket folded in his arms. He didn't blink. A voice came first, low and bitter. "It's been a long time." She tightened her grip on the lantern. "Not long enough." Another man stepped forward, hat low. "You speak bold for a woman who's alone." "I'm not alone." He glanced at the boy and sneered. "That's no shield." The boy's voice cut steady. "He's right." Her breath caught. "Hush." But the boy went on. "I don't shield her. I try her." Murmurs spread through the gathered. One woman spat on the dirt. "That's her son?" "Looks touched." The boy repeated it calm. "Looks touched." The woman flinched. The mother stepped forward, chin high. "Say what you came to say." An older man shifted, his voice rough. "Debt don't vanish. Your father struck first. You carry it now." She snapped back. "He struck for what was ours." Another voice. "What was yours rotted. We took it fair." She spat in the dirt. "You stole." The boy echoed louder. "You stole." The circle shifted uneasily. One man smirked. "That blanket he clings to. Word is it's cursed." The boy raised it, slightly. "It speaks." Laughter broke among them, harsh and short. He repeated their laugh, back at them, hollow, exact. The sound died quick. The mother's voice cut sharp. "You didn't come here for blankets." The oldest woman stepped close, face wrinkled like dried fruit. "We came for silence. You've broken it." The boy whispered, "Silence is guilt." The woman glared. "Children shouldn't talk." The boy's eyes didn't move. "Then listen." The crowd shifted again. Words turned sharper, insults thrown like stones. "Meat hooker." "Grave thief." "Witch." Each word the boy repeated, voice flat. "Meat hooker." "Grave thief." "Witch." They stopped, uneasy now, hearing their curses fed back like scripture. The mother raised her voice. "You think I fear your names. Dawson. Holloway. Rowan. Tanner. You're nothing but rot." Gasps cut through the night. The old families stiffened. The boy's voice rose, echoing hers. "Dawson. Holloway. Rowan. Tanner." The names hung heavy in the dark. Bootsteps sounded behind them. The sheriff emerged from the shadows, hat low, rifle across his chest. He didn't raise it. He didn't speak. The families shifted but didn't scatter. The oldest man growled, "Sheriff, you stand with her." The sheriff's voice came slow. "I stand where law tells me." "Law's dead." The man spat. The boy whispered, "Then debt lives." All eyes turned to him. His small frame, his steady stare, the blanket clutched tight. The woman with wrinkled skin hissed, "That thing isn't law. He's curse." The boy said calm, "Then hear the curse." The mother grabbed his arm. "Stop." He pulled free. "They'll hear it." The crowd muttered low, voices running together, anger mixing with fear. The mother stepped forward, voice sharp. "If you came to threaten me, do it plain. I've heard enough whispers." The smirking man sneered. "Plain enough, you'll hang." The boy repeated it, word for word. "You'll hang." The man faltered, his smirk fading. Another voice shouted, "We'll burn you out." The boy echoed louder, "We'll burn you out." The sound twisted the air. Silence dropped heavy after. The sheriff shifted his weight, speaking slow. "No burning, no hanging. Not tonight." The old woman snapped, "Then when?" The sheriff's eyes flicked to the boy, then to the mother. "When it's decided." "By who?" she demanded. His answer was flat. "By all of us." The families murmured again, uneasy. The boy stepped forward into the lantern glow. "Then decide now." The old man pointed a shaking hand. "He's not fit to speak." The boy answered calm. "Neither are you." A hush spread. The mother's heart pounded in her chest. She looked at the sheriff. "Send them home." He didn't move. "They came on their own." "Then drive them out," she shouted. His voice was stone. "Not my place." The boy whispered, "It's mine." The families shifted again, unsure, glancing at one another. The mother shouted at them, "You want me broken? Then break me here. Stop circling like cowards." No one moved. The boy lifted the blanket high. "She says break her. I say bury you." Gasps spread. The crowd stepped back, eyes wide. The sheriff lowered his head, silent. The mother trembled, whispering, "What have you done?" The boy answered calm, "Spoken truth." The old woman spat. "Truth damns you." The boy whispered, "Truth damns you first." The circle broke then, families stepping back into the dark, mutters fading with their retreat. The sheriff stayed. He leaned on his rifle, eyes on the boy. The mother cried out, voice hoarse, "Why didn't you stop them?" His answer came low, "Wasn't my trial." He turned, walking into the shadows, leaving them in the yard. The mother collapsed to her knees, lantern shaking in her hand. The boy stood over her, blanket clutched tight, whispering the names again like scripture. Dawson, Holloway, Rowan, Tanner. The night swallowed the words whole. The barn door creaked as he pushed it open. The lantern she carried threw long shadows across the beams. Dust swirled in the air, thick and heavy. The boy walked ahead, blanket clutched tight. He stopped beneath the iron hook, the same one that had hung silent for years. He looked up steady. She froze in the doorway. "Not here." He didn't turn. "Here." Her voice cracked. "Why?" He lifted the blanket high. "Because this is where truth belongs." Her breath shuddered. "It belongs nowhere." He stepped closer to the hook. "It belongs here." "No," she said. "Not in this place." He whispered, "It was always this place." She moved forward fast, grabbing the blanket. "Stop." He yanked it back. "You can't." Her tears welled. "Give it to me." He threaded one end of the blanket through the hook, knotting it tight. The fabric sagged heavy, dangling like a shroud. Her scream split the barn. "Don't you dare," he whispered, voice calm. "Her name hangs here." She lunged, clawing at the cloth, pulling hard. "You'll tear it apart." He held fast. "Then let it tear." Her voice cracked, raw. "Please, please not this." He pulled tighter, not hard against the iron. "It's the only place strong enough to hold it." She struck at him, fists shaking. "You're destroying me." His voice stayed steady. "I'm showing you." Her sobs tore through her chest. "Show me what?" he whispered. "That she never left." Her knees buckled. She fell against the table, hands clutching the edge. "You're cursed." He answered, "I'm hers." "No." "Yes." She stumbled forward, tearing at the blanket again. The fabric strained but held. Her scream shook the rafters. "Say it's not her." leaned close, whispering into the cloth. It's her. Her nails ripped threads loose, fraying the edges. I buried her. I put her in the ground. He whispered louder, voice cutting. And I pulled her back. She collapsed against him, fists still tangled in the fabric. Why? Why won't you let her rest? His voice dropped to a murmur. Because you never said her name. Her body trembled. I can't. You can. I can't. You will. She sobbed into the cloth, shaking her head hard. She never breathed long enough. He pressed his cheek against the blanket. She breathes now. Her tears soaked into the fabric. You'll kill me. He whispered, then die with her name on your lips. Her hands clawed higher, tearing harder. Stop. Please stop. He gripped the blanket tighter, refusing to let go. His voice rose now, each word sharp. Say it, she screamed back. I can't. Say it. Her body jerked as if struck. She collapsed to her knees, arms still stretched toward the blanket. Her sobs filled the barn, raw and broken. The boy lowered his face against the cloth. His whisper cut through her cries. He spoke the name. Her body froze. He whispered it again, steady, over and over. Her hands slipped from the blanket. Her chest heaved, but no sound came. She sagged against the floor, trembling. He kept whispering the name, each word softer than the last, like a chant that hollowed the air. She pressed her palms against her ears. Stop! Please stop! He didn't. The name kept spilling from him, low, endless. Her sobs gave way to silence. The barn seemed to still. The lantern flame barely flickered. Dust hung motionless in the air. The boy clutched the blanket tight around the hook, his lips brushing the cloth as he whispered again. Her body sagged against the dirt. Her eyes closed. Her chest rose once, then slowly fell. The boy leaned back, face pale, whisper fading to breath. The blanket swayed lightly from the iron hook, threads torn but unbroken. The mother lay still, her fingers barely touching the fabric. The barn was silent except for the whisper of her name still echoing in the boy's throat. The sky was pale when she opened her eyes. Cold air clung to her skin. She sat on the steps, her back bent, her hands resting in her lap. The blanket lay folded there, heavy and still. The barn door stood open behind her. The hook inside was bare. Her lips trembled. Boy? Only the wind answered. She rose halfway, then sat back down, too weak to stand. The yard was quiet. The well, the trees, the dirt road. Nothing stirred. She whispered again, softer. Boy? Silence pressed in. Her hands gripped the blanket. She unfolded it, staring at the threads. Some were torn, burned at the edges, blackened from smoke. She brushed them with shaking fingers. Her voice cracked. Why leave this? No one replied. She hugged it against her chest, rocking forward and back. Her breath came rough, shallow. The door creaked. She looked over her shoulder quick, hope rising. The doorway was empty. She let out a broken laugh. You always did play tricks. Her laugh faded. Tears ran down her cheeks. The sun edged higher, light spilling across the dirt. Birds stirred in the trees, their calls sharp. She pressed her forehead to the blanket. Her voice was low. I tried. I swear I did. The wind shifted. The sound of it moved across the yard like steps, but no one came. She lifted her head. You hear me? Nothing. Her shoulders sagged. She looked down the road, empty as far as her eyes could reach. The families had gone. The sheriff had gone. All that remained was her, the steps, and the folded weight in her lap. Her hands trembled as she pulled the blanket tighter. She whispered, I never meant to forget. The air stayed still. Her tears fell onto the fabric, soaking it dark. She closed her eyes. But I did. She sat in silence, the world waking around her. Minutes passed. Then she whispered again, almost too quiet to hear. A name. The sound lingered in the air, fragile, as if spoken by more than one voice. Her breath caught. She whispered it again, louder. Her body shook, her face crumpling, but the name kept spilling from her lips. Once, twice, over and over. Finally, she fell quiet. The blanket lay across her lap, heavy with memory, woven with grief. She stroked it once, slow, as though calming a child. Her eyes lifted to the horizon where the sun pushed higher, painting the sky gold. She breathed deep. The sound was ragged but steady. Her lips moved one last time, shaping the name without voice. Then she sat still. The silence settled. It stayed.